Yo, this is Necro Butcher.
Nightfall Death is, dedicated political
relation, what I see in others.
When you go camping, you're gonna see the Milky Way galaxy.
Punk rock type attitude too. We're just gonna try to, gross you out with our music.
If you love it enough, whatever you're doing, whether it's your instrument, your music, or everything like that, you'll find a way to make it work.
We could do this all night. Bass players, I use.
Yo, this is John from Noise Dosage Media, bringing you some of the most impressive and innovative extreme metal musicians on air to have an in-depth conversation about things you haven't known until now. We like to mention our sponsors and friends, Bishop Martin of Rat Punch and Begrudgingly Benny. Brandon specializes in stippling and digitally designing one-of-a-kind gruesome creatures that will look fantastic on any type of band artwork, tattoo, just about anything your twisted mind can think of. All of the art on this podcast is created by him, and we can guarantee 100% professionalism for a fair price. If you want to support the pod, please be sure to sign up for one of our $1, $3, or $5 Patreon tiers. We offer exclusive content, updates, merch, and unique offers that you can't get anywhere else. We're hoping in the future this fund can help aid in various subscriptions needed to keep this platform alive while delivering the best quality content we can. Our mission is to support more bands and deliver more content to our listeners. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Patreon.com/Noise Dosage Media. What's up, Trent?
How's it going, John? How you doing, man?
Just living another day. I'm going to start this conversation off with something fucking hilarious.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
I've been sleeping on Morbid Angel. Like straight up, man, out of all the death metal bands that have been around and you'd think I listened to, Morbid Angel, I never really listened to until recently.
I'm going to go on record right now with just saying that Morbid Angel is one of those bands that you would think with some of the other music that I listen to that I would really enjoy them. But every time I've really tried to listen to them, man, I can't get into them personally.
Oh shit! What else bands? What else bands were like that for you?
Kind of the same way with Pestilence. Although some of their songs have kind of grown on me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's sort of the bands that kind of get into that weird, almost technical territory. But it's also this very how would you even describe the sound? It's almost like atmospheric.
It's like tech death, but not like gent. Do you
exactly.
know what I mean? Not
exactly.
like the nerds in the corner trying to write really technical shit. But yeah. So let's pull back the curtain. Debrained, man. I want to know, because this project has been around for a while. I remember. Who the hell was your past vocalist?
It was Cody Bollinger.
Yes, Cody. I remember him being in the band. I think that was 2 years ago or a year ago, right?
Let's see, that would have been we had Chris come on in the summer of 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, a little over a year.
Okay. So how long has this band been around? I mean, I feel like I've seen you guys. I've only seen you guys live once, but on social media, at least 3 years, right?
Yeah. The earliest roots of the band go back to about 2017. That was back when it was just Dan, aka PW, as some people know him.
Yeah.
It was just Dan, and then our first drummer Kenny. But yeah, that goes all the way back to 2017.
Now, were you guys friends before all this, or how did the friendship come about? Was it Craigslist or?
It was actually for me personally, it was Facebook at just a post at the right time, I guess.
There we go.
But I know, if I'm not mistaken, Dan and Kenny actually went to a vocational program with each other.
Gotcha.
Where they both were studying welding, which was part of the reason we kind of got along when I joined the band, because in my day job, I'm also a welder.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, some of my friends, they're musicians too, and they weld. So I feel like that's a common thing.
It really is. It must be somebody told me once long ago that the welders are angry artists, and I guess that kind of holds true with musicians sometimes too. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I was a electrician before all this, and then I changed my ideas. But I don't know. Yeah, trades are definitely a way to go if you're in the right facility. You know what I mean? Right
oh yeah,
company.
if you have the right mindset too, I think college is right for some people, and for others it's not. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. Like I went to like a trade school for a little bit, and like I enjoyed it. It was totally different than what my friends were saying. Like they were going for like fucking holy shit, like chemistry and stuff like that. And I just can't see myself like sitting behind after so many years of going to school and just doing that over and over again for like another 6 years.
Oh man, no, not for me personally.
Not for you, yeah. All right. So, what y'all been working on? I mean, I listened to the song Potenza did, and it sounds like fucking sweet.
It did come out really good. I actually just saw, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's down in Maryland now.
I have
Anthony
no
is,
idea.
but
I have,
regardless, yeah, that came out really well. Obviously, we just put out a sort of, I don't know if you really want to call it a reissue or redux of the first EP we did, so the first 5 songs, and then another newer one, just to kind of showcase having a new singer, having a new drummer.
yeah,
Ultimately, though,
you did the demo.
yeah, pretty much. Like I say, redux of our first demo. Uh, but ultimately, right now, what we're doing is potentially looking to record a split with Vile Tyrant from Utica. And
Hell yeah, those are the boys, man.
oh
They're
yeah,
so
man,
good.
great
I
guys.
I was actually gonna bring up like the next thing, like that last show before the pandemic was that show with Vile Tyrant and who the fuck else was it? What was that other band with all the blood?
Was that
They
Oh man, why am I drawing a
I'm
blank
on
on
your
them?
Facebook page, like trying to find it as
I
we
have their
speak.
guitarist, leprosy. There it is.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
that's
on
it.
the tip of my tongue, man.
I yeah, it was just so weird. Like thinking back, like the last show I went to was that. It was in Buffalo at the fucking Mohawk place. Like that's the last. I I don't know. Like there's a lot of venues, but you don't catch me there a lot, and it was just kind of ironic. I'm like, no way.
We've talked about different venues in the past, and that's definitely I love, like I say, man, I love seeing shows at Mohawk. I just am not a fan of playing there. Both
Yeah,
we've at least I think in total the band's played there 3 times. I've played with them there twice, and it just both times it just hasn't been quite there. You know what I mean?
right.
Say I
The
love seeing shows there.
Immolation plays there all the fucking time, man, and I haven't been able to catch them at those shows. But
I've seen the flyers for their show. I know what ones you're talking about.
yeah, but yeah, Anthropic was on that show too. Like, and then the guitar player passed away, and fucking like that whole show was just like a memory. And I'm like, everything changed since that night, man. Like,
So much has changed, man. Rest in peace, Brian. Seriously.
yeah, Brian. I, I don't know. Like, you were obviously there at the show watching their set, I assume, right?
I actually didn't get to see their show there. They played. What was it? They played a week or two before us.
Was that
I,
a different show?
yeah, that was for the. I want to say for the release of Architects of Aggression.
Yes. Okay, I went to two shows on now. I'm thinking about it.
But no, man, that's one show. I kick myself in the seat now, really, for not going because obviously we don't have Brian anymore. But
Yeah, it was. I tell everybody, like, that was one of the best sets. I mean, I caught him at the tail end because I was taking pictures of like Nuclear Winter and stuff, but they fucking killed it. Like, I was like, I don't know. I've seen Anthropic live, drunk a few times, not drunk a few times, but that set, the last set that they ever played, it was so tight. So fucking tight.
Definitely one of my favorite bands from the area. They're the consistency alone, man, is just oh
Yeah. Well, they just hash that shit out. I don't know if it's because it's grindcore, the songs are smaller, or they're just kick ass. I think kick ass is the answer.
agreed, definitely.
But so what do you guys got going on like behind the scenes? I mean, you said that you got the demo going. You said you're working on the future for like some new stuff, correct?
Yeah, like I say, we're working towards a split with Vile Tyrant, and then
Yep, yep.
in amongst that, we're really looking to try to push forward to get an LP out within the next year. So
Right on.
yeah, man, that's the goal. Definitely.
So are you guys gonna stick with Anthony Potenza, or you're gonna like? I remember back. I don't know. I messaged you guys like a year and a half ago, and you said that you're very DIY. Is that still the mission, or?
To an extent, it is. I don't think we'll be working with Anthony just because he's
Prices.
moved down to Maryland, of course, and
Yeah.
we have some potential other prospective studios, I guess you could say, that we're looking to be working with. Specifically World of Noise right now for this split.
Where is that? I've actually never heard that one.
I want to say he's in North Buffalo. I've actually never been there myself, but if I remember from what he was saying, we spoke
checking it out
briefly
right
last
now.
week, and if I remember from what he was saying, it's in North Buffalo.
World of Noise. No shit. I didn't know that. God damn, it actually looks like pretty tight.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got some pretty legit stuff there, so I'm looking forward to seeing the facility.
fucking Hell Cannon, the guitar player. No, I think it's the vocalist or the one of a member in Hell Cannon has their own studio too, and they're in Tonawanda. And
Are you
they
talking about Shredley?
yes,
Yeah.
Shredley. I visited that studio once before, but I don't know what the fuck happened. But we never ended up doing anything. But their studio looks sick.
It's what I've heard. I've heard Jim has a lot of legit stuff as well.
Like, I don't know. It was like that, that like vibe where it's like DIY to an extent, but it's professional. Like, it's just in the middle.
Yeah, it's just crossing that threshold there.
Yeah, it's fucking. I don't know. I just walk. It's like in his basement too. It's just so like homely.
It's always a plus, I feel like, going into a studio.
Yeah, there's nothing like going into a studio and being like, "All right, here's my wallet, bruh. Here's my wallet, bruh."
How much do I owe you for sitting on the couch for 20 minutes?
Yeah, I ain't feel that shit no more. Have you guys gotten a realm of like demos at home, or
What do you mean?
like do you like, for example, like I do a lot of demos at home for pre-production and stuff. Do you guys you know work that way, or do you write as a group, like rehearsing?
Oh, so we sort of, I guess you could say we do in a way. For us, most of the time, it's like somebody will take a video of it, and that video will be sent to whoever needs it, or just like we have a group chat on Facebook. It'll just
Right
get
on.
tossed up there. Um, Usually, as far as songwriting, it'll just be somebody either brings in a riff, and we just start with that, or somebody brings in a complete song occasionally, and you just sort of work from that.
Right,
Um,
right.
so it sort of varies, I guess. We don't really have a set process yet. I think we're trying a lot of stuff out and just kind of seeing what works for us best.
I've heard so many janky fucking things about that subject to people. Like, Jeff Becerra said to me that they kind of make music like a puzzle piece. Like they do a whole bunch of pre-production at home and then just compile it at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's totally different. Like I spent 3 to 4 years like writing music with people for a fucking long time, And right now I'm like, I'll just stick to pre-production. It's by myself, and it's a totally different atmosphere.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
It's I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's very like focused, but not focused.
Sometimes that's a good thing, though. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
like just going with that point of having focus but no focus at the same time. When somebody brings that riff in, uh, it ends up you could have two or three riffs that maybe come after it, but I guarantee you by the time we're wrapping the song up and saying, okay, this is what it's going to be, those riffs probably aren't the same, or they're not in the same spot. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
but I there's something to that fluidity that I enjoy.
Right. Right. All right. So here's a question I haven't asked. Um, so being from the Rochester and Buffalo area, what are some things that you wish were a thing for the music scene? Like, for example, um, I really liked house shows, and they're kind of going downhill. They have been, and in the future, I would like to see more of them. Like, what's your take on that?
I could echo house shows.
Yes, dude.
I think did you ever hear the Lair at all?
Yeah, that's the exact venue I'm talking
Yes.
about. Well, I think
Yes.
the layer closed or something,
It
or he
did.
doesn't live there, or
I think if I'm not mistaken, it was because Erickson had moved, if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
that makes sense.
But yeah, I ended up being able to go to the last show that he was hosting, and man, it was awesome.
Which one was that?
That was, let's see, it was, I want to say, Hubris, Prepare for the Mind Scan, Ishkabibble, and I want to say Kane played as well.
Huh. I'm trying to think if I might have went to that. I don't remember. I remember all I know is when I started going to the lair, like 2 months later, it stopped. Like it just shut down. Erickson was like, "All right, pack my bags." But yeah, some of the best shows in my whole life was at the lair.
It gets me thinking every basement that I walk into, just like, this could be,
What could we do with this?
yeah,
What
this
could we
could
do
be a
with this?
spot,
Dude, so Nuclear Winter, they have this rehearsal spot, and it's like really big. It's in this practice spot in Rochester, and like they hosted one show there. You could fit like 75 people in there, and holy fuck, man. Like I told him right after, I'm like, this needs to be a thing. Like, please. That'd be so much fun.
Oh man, like that's one thing that I'm hoping we kind of see a rise of with everything going on, is sort of the underground DIY venues, man. Like that atmosphere, you can't beat it. Doesn't matter how you know downtrodden your venue might look, it doesn't beat playing in somebody's garage or someone's basement.
Right. And I mean, like, so I was talking to you before this about like hosting shows and shit. Like, it's a tough market because like the venues around here, there's only a few of them where I'd be like, hey, here's some decent money. You know what I mean? But I feel like DIY shows, you could like actually make more money for the bands, like a donation, or just there's ways to make money in the music industry, but it's not working with these fucking venues that are like, here's $1. Like that's just not how it works.
That's something I feel like has always been the question with the music industry, though, is that there are ways to make money, like you're saying, but it's just how do you do that? And more
Right.
importantly, with some of those ways, how do you do that and have a clear conscience at the end of the day?
Yeah. Right. You have to I don't know. When I was in a band, it was really tough because, a lot of it came from merch sales, like long sleeves and like higher price stuff. You can mark up. But as for shows, it's just so tough. Like, I mean, we would play a show, we'd lose a ticket, so we'd lose money on that already. And then Yeah, like $60 to fucking play a show. Play a show is tough, you know.
That's yeah. It's almost not doable at that point.
Yeah, like so I've been thinking about a way when I start hosting shows on how like I can make bands more money is like I'm thinking like I don't take any money as a promoter. Like all the money goes directly towards the bands and then any money that I would get would be like a donation. And like I feel like promoters should think about that option. Do you know what I mean? Like I've never I've never played a show where I've gotten a legitimate document that said this is how many tickets you sold. These are the amount of heads that have showed up. You know what I mean? Like there's always like this gray area with promoters.
That's something that I've found to be sort of frustrating too. Um, I mean, I feel like you do meet people and you network with people and you find people that you can eventually trust. Like there are a couple promoters that I'm like, okay, you're going to give us a fair square in the deal here.
Right, right.
But then there's other ones that, you do a show or two for them and you're just like, this is why are we working for you? Like
Yeah, like what what's the point? What are we getting out of it? It's like donate. I saw something on Facebook, for example. This dude, he's like, "Hey man, just so you know, if you make less than $100 at a show, you're doing charity." And I'm like, "Bruh, like holy
literally,
fuck." I'm like, that is
especially
amazing.
if there's travel involved and stuff like that. It's like I don't mean to make it sound. That's the biggest thing that I think you can hear both me and Dan saying in Debrained is you don't want to make it sound about the money, but there is a point where it's like I'm putting myself out to do this, so
Right, right,
you know what
right.
I mean. It's that's I guess playing music though.
Yeah, well, it's tough because like, P- I I literally had a conversation with a promoter, and they're just like, "Well, you're gonna have to get used to it because you're not gonna become rich at it." I'm like, "Yes, but the only issue is like, there's a difference between giving somebody money for being in a band to play a show, but then there's a point where like you're just getting taken advantage of, like,
Oh, definitely.
but holy fuck, I could talk about that shit all day, but what I'm trying to say is I'm gonna start hosting shows in Rochester, and they're gonna be sick, and bands are gonna get paid. Like that's what I was trying to bring up.
You
Like
know, I think that's a good model as long as people donate. It's almost like a community served model, I would say.
that, yeah, and like it's one of those things where like the person supports uh the mission overall. So like um there's no reason why you couldn't like donate to a promoter because in the end they're gonna bring better shows to the fucking area, like
Exactly. So
so
kids, you heard it here first. If you want to see more sick shows in Rochester, you got to throw
yeah,
John some money.
dude, like no, my plan is to bring some fucking bigger bands to like the Bug Jar. Like
Oh yeah.
we were talking like Havoc. Like if we could get like some some fucking big bands like that, and then have good openers and like get a decent draw and fucking overall make the bands money. Like that's the end goal. Like that's all it is, man.
That's the goal, man. Sick
That is it.
shows, sick crowds.
Sick fucking crowds. All right, so off topic of fucking shows in general. I could fucking talk about that all day. All right, so I'm on your Facebook page and you got Varg on there, and
Oh
I
yeah.
I
Let's
gotta
talk
hear.
about Varg.
Let's, let's talk about Varg, man. Uh, Jesus Christ! If you were to like have a phone call with him right now, what would you say?
Well, I'd have to try to think of something to kind of lure him in, almost like a scammer, like so that he wouldn't hang up immediately. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? I don't know. I'd probably start asking him questions about, let's see, like sustainable farming or something, and then I'd start badgering him, just like, why, man? Why are you the way that you are?
Yeah, he's definitely a piece of work.
Dude,
But have you watched his YouTube videos, man?
there was a solid like 2 weeks where I dove deep down the Varg rabbit hole, man.
Oh no.
The old Thulian perspective rabbit hole.
Fuck. Have you listened to like his new music?
I've heard like some snippets of it. Isn't it? It's more like
It's like trippy shit. Like
it's like isn't it more like ambient style stuff?
it's like soundscapes, man. Like
No kidding.
it has nothing to do with black metal. Like absolutely nothing.
Does he use the name Lewis or is he still Burzum? Or
No,
I'm sorry,
he's still
Burzum.
Burzum, man. Burzum. Yeah,
Burzum.
he's still that. He's still uploading on Burzum. That's the funny part. Like there's no black metal anymore. It's just like, hey man, here's a record, pay me. Like, bro, I'm living on my own. I got this camo Jeep, man. I gotta pay off lawyers, man.
The cops keep harassing me, man. It's just, oh,
Holy fuck.
poor Varg.
So you guys were a part of Mike Marlinski's book, man. Was that you? Doesn't
No,
say.
actually, that was Dan. That was, I believe, I want to say he has a picture featured in it. So
Yeah, well, I just ordered it the other day. I mean, he asked me to write something in it, and I was like, all right, cool. But I just ordered it like 2 days ago. I haven't got it.
yeah, I gotta order my copy still. I hope to see Mike someday and just be like, can you sign it?
Bro, Mike is a topic to talk about just in and of itself. Like, fuck. So back 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I knew nothing about the music industry, Mike was always there, like straight up, like fucking. I reached out to him. I'm like, hey man, I have this really crappy album. Like, can you review it? And he's like, yeah, man, I got you. Like, Mike is a great dude. What's your take on Mike?
I think Mike's. I don't really have too much to say because I don't know him that well personally, other than the few times that we've either crossed paths or seen each other at shows. I think he puts on great shows. I really appreciate the work that he does with Metal Webzine. Especially with I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. I think it's Zine, right? Metal Webzine.
No, I think it's I don't know.
Webzine.
Probably.
I just want to sound hip like the rest of the cool kids.
Website.
What? But no, I really appreciate the work that he does with there, especially for the Buffalo scene. Even is he still in California now or?
I don't know. Like I think he's like back and forth or something. I think his job makes him go back and forth. I have no idea.
I do have a message for Mike though, because I thought of this months ago. I saw him in Music Matters a long time ago, and we were talking about Pig Destroyer.
Right
on. And the album Phantom Limb came up because we were both talking about the cover artwork to it basically, and I was drawing a blank on who did the cover artwork because I knew that the guy that did the cover artwork for that also did the cover artwork for Baroness, and his name is John Baisley. I couldn't think of it then, but Mike, if you're listening, it's John Baisley.
Dude, I hate brain farts, man.
Oh, the worst.
I it happens to me all the fucking time when I'm on the podcast, and I'm like, answer, just fill in the blanks, man. I forgot.
But, oh man,
yeah,
mental ad libs.
Oh yeah, freaking Mike is the dude. Like straight up, he just hosted some online show today. I don't know if it already happened or what, but I was stuffing myself with a lot of food.
I was doing laundry.
Real life sets in.
Real life sets in real quick.
real life fucking sets in. Fuck. All right, let's see. I gotta pick up. You got long sleeves off, man? Come on.
We actually just got a new run of it. I believe we still have some of those left. So I will let the guys know that you're looking for one.
Yeah. Fuck, I gotta get some. I gotta rank up, man, when it comes down to merch. Like,
Oh, it's a slippery slope, dude.
oh, I know. Like, you start buying like 2 shirts and it becomes 7 and then it turns 27.
I think I own maybe I do know that I own enough non-band shirts that don't have a band logo or something
Right.
band related on them. I own enough of those shirts to probably count on one hand. The rest of them are just all band shirts.
What's the best piece of merch you got?
Oh man. I would probably have to say I got this I don't know if are you much of a patch guy at all or
Yeah, man, I just got some printed for the
Nice.
podcast. I can't wait.
I'll be picking one of those up too.
Y-
But if anybody's familiar with Pull the Plug patches, they did a
Yes,
run
dude.
of these carcass back patches over the summer, man. And I saw those. I was like, I have to have one of those.
Dude, pull the plug, man. I haven't ordered anything from them, but I will say I had a cart full, but I just backed out because I'm like, bruh, I'm gonna make a whole new vests are one of those things when you buy 3, you gotta buy 27. Like,
Oh yeah, man.
and pull the plug is a good example because like all their stuff looks fucking sick.
And what was it? The first, let's see, when I bought that back patch, I was just browsing through the rest of his catalog, the stuff that he had available. I'm like, man, like these are just sick. Like,
Yeah, like I think the reason why people are grabbing a hold of that company is because they look old school, but they're not I don't know. The guy has a really good image, like if he sees something that's going to really pop out, it's going to be on his website. Like he picks all the goodies. He picks every fucking album that is like, you know, killing it.
oh
And
yeah.
that's why he's making business.
And he's been I know what was it about a year ago or so he was really known for working with mostly underground bands and over the past well not quite like over the past 6 months or so he's got stuff from Megadeth in the works. He's got stuff for Iron Maiden out right now. So he's starting to work with all these bigger bands, man, and it's cool as hell to see.
Isn't he from like Australia or something crazy? I know he's not in the United States.
He is Australian, or the company is Australian. I think it's a couple people actually, but I think Simon being the founder, the owner.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I remember looking on and being like, "Fuck, dude, this is gonna take forever to get here." But
The couple orders I've gotten from him actually haven't been too bad.
maybe they have they probably have somebody like in the United States doing like distro, not like a different company, but you know what I mean, like somebody that's an inside help from the United States.
Yeah, it sort of takes them in bulk, and then like you're saying, would distribute them
Right.
domestically.
Right.
Maybe,
right.
possibly.
That I feel like that'd be the only way. Because I mean, shit, China, for example, China takes a month and a half
At best.
at best, dude. But yeah, dude, patches are the fucking wave, man. I had a thrash vest when I was a kid. How many vests you got? One?
I actually, yeah, I have. I guess you could say, technically speaking, one vest, but I have my winter coat. It has some stuff on it as well.
Right on. What's it consist of?
So the winter coat has the centerpiece of that carcass back patch.
Yeah.
Just, oh man, had to go with it, man. Um, As for the actual battle vest, I know some people sort of do themes or whatever, but it's sort of just a splattering of different bands I've enjoyed or seen live or played with or whatever, pretty much.
Yeah, what's your most prized patch?
Ooh,
Like
that
what yeah. What's your most prized
that's a
one?
good question.
I gotta know. I've never asked anybody about a fucking vest, man.
I'm gonna have to say probably. Let's see. Our singer introduced me to this grindcore band called Dahmer, and
Okay.
he actually
I don't know.
managed to
I don't know
find a
that one.
couple of patches from them, and that's got to be probably one of the more prized ones, I would say. Even though it's simple, it's printed, but it does the job well.
Yeah, I need to start a new one bad, like for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'd want to do if it'd be just black and white or a bunch of colors. Like my thrash vest is like rainbow because it's all fucking different colors, and I'm like, ah,
Oh, same with mine, man. And it's I have camo instead of just denim too. So it looks like some sort of like Fruity Loop vomit going on in the
yeah,
back of it.
yeah. All right, so when I saw you guys, you had this like flying V, right? Is that still your main axe?
Yeah, man. I have quite a few guitars, but the King V is definitely the workhorse, at least for what we do in Debrained. It was my first really like dive into Jackson, I guess you could say, like really sitting down and being serious and saying, okay, I'm gonna, this is gonna be the guitar I use, and I love it, man. I love
Yeah.
that guitar.
Now you just said that you rewired it. I'm gonna guess what you put in it. Let me guess.
Go for it.
EMGs or no?
No, actually, I do have a Futura that has EMGs in it.
Yeah.
But no, I actually went with I stayed passive. I went with I kept the see, it has a Seymour Duncan 59, I believe, in the neck, or
Right
JB
on.
in the neck, I'm sorry. And then it has a Black Winter in the bridge. And that's the one that I ended up
Nice.
switching out. Oh man, I
I
love that pickup, man.
I I went passive too, man. Like the guitar I've been using for a lot of pre-production, like I have the same exact guitar. I have two of the same things, but the one's got EMGs and the other one's got like a Gibson, like fucking passive Gibson. And I'll take the passive pickup any day. Any day.
Oh yeah, I got nothing against active pickups, but they always seemed to be an inconvenience to me, to be honest.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, you forget. I played a show where the battery died right in the sun, right in the middle of the set, like, and I didn't have a 9-volt, so maybe that
It's
was my fault. But
yeah, it's just the simpler machines are, the less things that can go wrong, right?
right, and I don't know. I, I mean, I used to have like a pedal board and all that crazy shit, and now I'm like, if I'm playing a show, like, give me a cord, an amp, and a cab. I'm done. Like that's it. That's all I want.
Oh, dude, I have a story for you, man.
Let's hear it.
So we recently did a little DIY show in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, and I decided that instead of using my 100-watt head, I was going to bring my 20-watt with me, just because
Oh no.
it's a little
Okay.
easier to dial in a good tone at a lower volume. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But to run that, I need a little bit more gain, so I'm like, I got to bring my pedal board. I got no choice, and
Right.
I had to we had to go to Guitar Center right before we left, and I just bought the cheapest daisy chain I could find.
Oh.
And right out of the box, man, this thing had a short in the cable. So like I'm plugging it in, and I'm like, why isn't it working? You have to twist the cable in a certain way. Just have it just so that
Yeah. Yeah.
the pedal board will turn on.
Wow.
It's a total waste of $30.
So what happened? Did you play the show with like shitty tone or what?
I ended up basically just having to cram it like into a spot and hope that it stayed there, and it worked. But
There we go.
lesson learned. Don't buy cheap Daisy chains. They don't work.
Yes. Or not instead of daisy chains, the cords that go in between the pedals.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I learned that the hard way. I played I played a few shows, but 2 of them for sure. I had a problem with my pedal board, and I just said, "Fuck it, I'm not using that." Because of those cords, I cheaped out on like $5 cords, and that's what I get. That's what I get, man.
I'm telling you, dude, and I don't want to sound like I'm endorsed here because I'm definitely not endorsed. But if they would like to, I would be open to it.
Hell yeah. Dude,
Um,
I've been told by artists it's really not that hard to get endorsed by like guitar companies.
I've heard it hasn't, or the process isn't really as intimidating or as tough as you might think it would be either. Actually,
Yeah, like I mean, shit. The biggest thing that they want is fucking money, like for their company or like a band to like represent their company, like. But in the end, uh, they need business, so yeah, they're gonna do it.
I mean, despite what I said a moment earlier here, I'm actually not one quite for endorsements.
Okay, all right.
All jokes aside, I'll go right on the record say that. But
Hey man, record is the fucking way, man. Like, there's no reason to not speak your mind. Like that, there's so many issues around that topic in general. Like,
I just think why would you, and not that you're locked to one brand, but why would you lock yourself into one brand?
right, exactly. I
Basically,
mean,
you know.
the only brand I would ever do that for is Angle. I mean that amplifier that I have, I haven't heard anything better than that, and I don't plan on changing it.
Yeah,
Like,
you really like the angle?
holy fuck, man! Like, beefiest amp I've ever heard in my life. You can plug it into like a potato and it'll sound great.
That's a true market quality right there.
Like, for an example, like, do you know those like plastic guitars? They're like half sized. Anyway, it's like a toy guitar, right? My friend bought it at a thrift store, made out of plastic. Horrible pickups, horrible everything. I plugged it into the Angle. It sounded like a fucking like $3,000 Fender.
There you go, man.
But what what amp are you running?
So for rehearsals and some of the live shows, I use a Bugera Tri-Rec, which
Okay.
they're decent. They're not. I'm not gonna go and say it's an amazing amp. It'll change your life, but it does the job. And I think there's something to be said for some of the products they put out at that price point, because they're
Right.
not known for being particularly expensive amps.
Yeah.
But then at home and
yeah.
occasionally other times I guess I use I have an Orange Micro Dark, and man, that thing, I'll tell you, for a little 20 watt that weighs
Yeah.
less than a pound, that thing is impressive.
Well, I was gonna buy I don't know, years ago I was at Guitar Center and I picked up, this is like right after I bought the Angle, like went to Guitar Center and there was 120-watt Orange. It was like $400 amplifier. Brand new. I don't know the name, but dude, I was gonna buy it. Like, it sounded amazing.
Is it is it maybe the Crush, the Orange Crush? I think it's the Crush
Yeah.
120.
Yeah, that's it.
Those are, I've heard good things about those too for being solid states, man.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that I was like, holy shit, man! Like, there's no tubes involved. Like, this is like straight up. Like, you don't have to do anything.
Just
You don't-
nice. Like
yeah, you don't have to pay for like getting retubed or pay for the tubes.
Oh yeah, worried about buying balance sets or anything like that.
Oh yeah. or give it to the wrong. You buy this nice head and you give it to the wrong guy, and then they fuck it up.
My biggest fear.
Oh, God, I would be so sad. So
Now, being just out of curiosity, being somebody that was into like an electrical background, like you were saying, did you ever like look into being an amp tech or anything like that?
you know, where I'm at right now, there's a dude that's got a really good reputation around here. Like, he's amazing. Like, he's the talk of the town when it comes to that stuff. So it'd be it'd be a tough market. Let's put it that way.
I gotcha.
Maybe if I was like in Rochester. I mean, there's a few, but not in my area. There's like one like 15 minutes away from me. But yeah, so Clearfield, PA, like, what is this venue that you're talking about? Like, I've never been there.
The upstage, man. The pride of Clearfield.
The upstage?
The upstage. It's what it's the name that it's been flying under. It's actually a good friend of ours in Pennsylvania. He has a landscaping business down there, and basically we'll put on DIY hardcore and metal shows in the bay, the garage bay of his landscaping business.
No
And
shit.
man, it's exactly like we were talking earlier about that atmosphere that you can get from those shows, man. Just great.
How far is that from here?
I want to say it's like we got there and back. I want to say in about 3 hours. So it's like I would say like 2.5, maybe 3 hours
to get there.
Yeah, as if you were going to Pittsburgh, pretty much.
Gotcha. God damn. Yeah, it looks like a fucking like a brick basement, really.
Oh man, I can't even describe the atmosphere to you, man. Like, I remember because we've played 2 shows there, and I remember the first one we got there, and we're looking at the outside of the building, and it's like we don't really know what to expect, but we'll see. And you go inside, and it's just like everything you could have hoped for.
You're like, this is what needs to happen. Like, let's stop going to these fucking venues that pay us nothing, and and like go, because the people that go to those shows really want to support. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, dude, we've
totally
made great
different.
friends down there.
It's totally different. When you're at like one of those mainstream events and versus like, something put together with friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what needs to happen in Rochester in the future. Like, I hope.
I think that's what needs to happen everywhere, man. It just it gives this. I think it would give the scene a kick in the pants that it really needs. Not saying that the scene's doing bad, but just that it brings that DIY edge back to it, exactly like we were talking about earlier.
Especially with death metal, like,
oh
shit,
yes,
man. Like that was the thing back in the day. And like, I started doing that zine like about a month ago, and it's like so fucking fun. Like, the overall old school mindset of like being in a band, playing shows in basements and like giving out flyers. Like, I don't know. It's totally different nowadays. Like, everything's on the internet. Everything is just so easy to be, gotten. You can get a hold of anything in seconds.
I think it's good and bad. My biggest frustration, because I've been putting music on the internet since I was like a teenager. We're talking 15 to 16 years old, and
right.
I've always felt like it's very easy for things to get buried, or if you don't know how to do that almost the same in real life. It sort of mimics. You got to be able to network a little bit,
right?
But I think with having a going back to what we're talking about with more DIY venues and that sort of what's the word I'm looking for here? That sort of philosophy, I think, would bring a whole new energy back.
I feel like with the pandemic, venues would realize, hey man, it's not just about like, I feel like they'll now respect bands a little bit more if bands were like, you know what, screw it, man, we're gonna start doing DIY shows, like fuck it all, like let's just do it. Um, let's just not go with the original mindset of what the music industry has like become. Like I feel like venues would maybe appreciate musicians more, you know?
I'm hoping that at the end of this we can all have there's almost like a mutual respect built around everybody for everybody, if that makes any sense.
Right, right. Yeah, I fucking hope so, man. Like, I hope so.
It's because
But
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to we're essentially in the same boat. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
but I don't know. I guess it's time will tell.
Time will tell. Hey, so I've never been. I'm just literally going down your Facebook because like there's some things I haven't seen, like the Rockin' Buffalo, for example. I've never been there. You know, like give me the rundown on that.
Rockin' Buffalo is actually a pretty cool venue as well, man. I remember. Let's see, I saw a show for the first time way back when Cody was still in the band. Actually, I tagged along with him. He was going to take pictures of that event,
Right on.
and the sound was great. Um, the the general atmosphere, I guess, of the stage area is pretty cool. It's one of those venues that you go in and you know, you're almost looking at it from the outside and you're like, this place isn't going to be that big. But you go in and it almost opens up in front of you.
Right, right.
But the sound, man, that's a venue that like you can go to pretty consistently, and that sound matches up with that consistency. You know,
There we go. Yeah, that doesn't I mean, it happens a lot with certain venues, but yes, I there's a lot of venues around like Rochester that have different sound guys like every night, you know.
I
That'll
always wondered
bring
why about stuff like that. That's
yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Rockin' Buffalo, you know, I've never been there. I saw that you guys play at Rec Room. Somebody said that they closed. Do you know if that's true or not?
I can't confirm, but I wouldn't be surprised if they may have gone under with the situation.
Dude, I was so like, if that's true, I'm so sad because the sound was great. Everything about that venue was like legit. Like I thought that was gonna be like the next thing in Buffalo.
Man, we only got to play there once, but the one time we did, it was awesome. It was a great
Yeah,
show.
it it's cool because like the overall venue itself is very like narrow, so you know wherever you stand, it's like a decent view, you know,
Yeah,
and they have like
definitely.
risers and stuff.
Oh yeah, they had that whole mezzanine section you could go up onto if you wanted. It was just
It's
great
straight
venue.
up, dude. If only I had like money to buy that place, I would. Take out a
Maybe we can
loan.
go half on it or something.
Take a loan.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Holy fuck! All right, so being on a podcast? Are you a fan of podcasts, or do you currently listen to any other podcasts?
I do actually.
Hell
I'm a
yeah!
pretty big fan of the R4 podcast with Aaron Martell. I got turned on to that one by Rob at Music Matters. I actually ended up
Okay,
doing an episode with them back in December. That was pretty fun, but huge fan of
R4
that show.
podcast. I don't actually know that one.
Otherwise known as Ridiculous Rock Record Reviews, I should say.
Holy fuck! I'm not gonna remember that. Send me it after.
I will for sure, man.
um. All right. So other than that, do you listen to I don't know, like radio shows or any type of
Not
other podcasts?
not particularly. No, I mean there's a couple true crime podcasts I enjoy, I guess, but you
Right
got to be in the
on.
right mood to listen to those. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Example. Heavy Hole Podcast, man. You should check out them. I don't know if you know the singer Will from Afterbirth.
I do
After
not.
Oh God, Afterbirth is like technical death metal, but he hosts a podcast and it's badass. Like he's got a whole bunch of guests. It's basically similar to mine, but he's got a really cool personality.
Oh, John, don't say you don't have a cool personality.
No. Nah, I don't mean it that way, but he's got
This
a
guy's like me, but he's cooler.
yeah, I get. If I were to describe that podcast, yeah, that sums it up.
I feel that, man. That's every time if I'm watching a music video of a band I like, I'm like, hey, that's basically what I do. He's just doing it better. Like,
Dude, it's tricky because I mean, you just gotta be you sometimes. I mean, there's the biggest thing about a podcast or a band is like you can't mimic someone else. You just gotta do your own thing, and if it sucks, it sucks. If it doesn't suck, whatever, man. You just go with it.
that's true for anything, man. I would say.
Yeah, so I mean, pulling it back to the band thing, what are some things that you've learned up to this point,
Um, you can't rip on the singer all the time. That's one thing I've learned.
I thought you were gonna say the bass player.
Oh man, no, I'm a firm defender of our bass player.
Hell yeah.
The low end stays.
Can't rip on the vocalist?
Can't rip on the vocalist too much. No, but in all seriousness, I think it's just reinforced to me the value of playing with other people. Because you can sit in your room and you can practice and become a virtuoso all on your own, sure. But playing with other people, man, it adds such a new element and adds so many new avenues of inspiration to your own playing. It's almost priceless,
Right. Now, 5 years from now, where do you think you're gonna be with the band? Are you gonna try to be quit your day job and tour, or like where are you at with it? Are you trying to just release good ass music videos, etc.? Where's your mindset on that?
It's a wild card, man. And I don't want to speak for all of us, but I think we all have that same mantra of let's ride this train as far as it goes,
Right on. I like that. I always ask this curveball question to everybody. Like what is a motto like you live by to this day? Like I don't know. So, and how does it relate to like the music industry itself?
There's actually a German saying that I've been familiar with for quite a few years now, and it's "wenn schon, denn schon," and essentially, if I didn't butcher that pronunciation, essentially what it means is if something is worth doing, it's worth doing right. And
that's
obviously with art, that can, what is right and what is wrong can be interpreted in many different ways, but the way I try to interpret it is don't put out something you're not proud of. If you have second thoughts about something, there's probably a good reason for that second thought. So never be too quick to just put something out to get something out there. Make it good.
Yeah. That's good. That's a solid answer. I've gotten some hesitant answers on that for sure, but yours was very solid.
Thank you.
You knew right away.
I've been waiting my whole life to say that. So,
well, the last heavy question I have for this podcast is, how would you define the word success?
I like to take a very personal approach to success. In that, to me, I always tell people, when you're talking to your family or to your friends about, why are you playing a band or what makes you want to do this? It's not to be famous. It's not to, make millions of dollars. I don't want to be Metallica,
Right.
But I guess to me, success would be making an impact, at least. You know what I mean?
Right on. Okay. All right. So extend off of that, an impact in getting your music in people's ears, or making a scene greater, or what?
I guess at the base level, you want to get more people listening to your music, but
Right.
I guess it make an impact on some aspect of metal being the genre that it is. You know,
Right
maybe
on.
maybe not like, hey, these guys were super big, but hey, these guys did something that was just a little different for the time, or was a little out
Yeah,
there,
man.
and you know, that's I think where you really find your audience.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. Like, I think the biggest things with bands nowadays is like that little imperfection. I mean, that's the wrong word, but that one thing that people go, this is a little bit different than fucking Bolt Thrower, or like I don't know, Morbid Angel. Like,
That was
those are
I,
the bands that get the attention. You know what I mean?
exactly, man. Like that was kind of something that obviously, you know, we're pretty big Cannibal Corpse fans, but that was like one of the things that we set out to not do, was being a death metal band from Buffalo. I think it would be pretty terrible if, you know, everybody just compared you to Cannibal Corpse all the time. So you want to try to be as distant from that as possible.